2018 is finally here, but before we jump into all the new comics coming out this year, let's take one last look back at 2017. Okay, more like 12 looks back. Yeah, this whole month is a 2017 retrospective, as we're going to spend the next few weeks looking back at last year, and we're kicking that all off with our top 10 comic book characters of 2017. Now, to make it onto this list, you don't have to be a new character, just a character who made an impact on us in 2017. It can be a truly unique character we'll never forget, a returning character who had some huge moments, just anyone who we felt were the face of comics in 2017. But before we begin, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. First honorable mention, Upton the Butler. The idea of a Clue comic was kind of odd to me. I had no idea how you were going to turn a board game into a comic book, but it worked because of their fourth wall breaking narrator, Upton the Butler. His dry wit, omniscience, and interactions with the editorial staff made this book so much better than I could have imagined, especially with what he did at the end of the series, which I will not spoil. It makes the entire final issue golden. Shannon Kind. Imagine a mother who lost her child, suddenly finding herself on an alien planet, and also suddenly becoming God to an entire alien species. Catwoman. This year she got engaged to Batman and brought so much life to that character and his series. I pray this marriage actually happens, just so we can keep her around as a permanent addition to the Tom King Batman book. Detective Locke. Imagine Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, grown up as a bitter, jaded street detective. It sounds crazy, and it is, but this character and his relationship with his imaginary friend made that concept work. Kite Man. Hell yeah. Iceman. The Iceman series this year explored this character and his relationship with his parents, as well as the changes going on in his life wonderfully, making him one of the deepest characters in any book this year. And last honorable mention, Gabby Kinney. While she first appeared 2 years ago, this was the year when Laura Kinney's little sister really blew up, bringing much needed life and fun to her sister's title, and it was all capped off with her getting her own codename, which fits her perfectly. Now onto the official number 10 comic book character of the year, Shirtless Bear Fighter. Yes, that's his name. He's a shirtless man who punches bears. Okay, shockingly enough, there's more to it than that. Shirtless was abandoned as a baby and raised by bears, where he learned their mastery for combat and swore to protect the forest until he was betrayed by one of his own, and now he must hunt down all bears that do wrong. He makes it onto this list for not only being such a crazy concept, but for also having a story that actually went beyond just a bizarre setup. Number 9 is Jean Grey, and honestly this is kind of a weird one because there's two Jean Greys. And you might think I'm putting the adult Jean on here because this was the year that she returned, but no. Although I will admit I probably gave her a few extra points on this list because of that. But no, the reason she got on this list was for the teenage lost in time and space Jean Grey. This year she got her own series, and it was all about her seeing that the Phoenix was coming back to Earth, and it was coming for her. So she spent an entire year training to take it on. She spent a year going from one hero to another, learning a lesson from each of them on how to confront the ultimate all-powerful enemy. Honestly, this is one of the best character growth storylines I've read in comics because it had a clear start, a clear end, and a clear step every single issue that she had to take in order for her character to grow. Jean probably grew more than any other character this year because of the way that this series was set up, and it had a payoff that I did not see coming. Number 8 is Thea from Extremity. She's a character caught in a very complicated position. She's an artist whose hand was ripped off after her tribe was attacked, and now she can no longer do the thing that she loved. To make matters worse, her mother was killed and her father went kind of insane with rage. Now Thea lives only for revenge against the people who took everything away from her, but that's not what she wants. Inside, she's not a violent person. She's a creator, not a destroyer, but she still wants revenge, so the whole series is just a big question of what will she do, and even she doesn't know that. Number 7 is Mech Cadet U. U lives in a world where Earth is at war with a race of giant space monsters, and their only hope is a band of alien robots that appear every few years and then select a human to be their pilot. And Yu wants nothing more than to be one of these pilots. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to go to the school where everyone is trained to be these pilots. Instead, he has to work as a janitor at that school. However, when one of these new robots lands off-site, he chooses Yu to be his pilot, and now Yu finds himself having to deal with his peers who don't see him as worthy, his mother who doesn't want him risking his life, a commanding officer who hates that the robot picked him instead of his own daughter, all while having to save the world. Number 6 is Sam Wilson. Yes, you all know that I love Sam Wilson as Captain America, so you can go ahead and call me biased all you want in the comments down below, but the truth is, Sam had a big year in 2017. It was the year that after giving up being Captain America, he watched his country fall into chaos, leading to him picking up the shield again and realizing there was a reason we needed Captain America, and then he led the charge to turn the tide against the evil alternate reality Steve Rogers. Okay, we really need to shorten that title. Somebody give him a new evil code name. That's way too many words to say. But we watched him lead the charge only to then have probably the best of the Generation 1 shots, as he had to go back in time and live an entire lifetime experiencing a new history as he finally realized he needed to be his own man and stop being someone else. I might have hated seeing Sam go back to being the Falcon, but I have to admit the journey he went on in one single issue actually made even me say, okay fine, I buy it. And at number 5, the winner for the most creative character of the year goes to Fujitsu. Fujitsu is the world's smartest man, the world's most powerful martial artist, and is over 100 years old, but has managed to keep himself from aging past 16. He taught Albert Einstein about nuclear physics, was a superhero sidekick in the 1950s to Johnny Unitas, was the inspiration for Hal in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and yet despite all of that, he still spent years away from mankind in meditation because he had to get over being broken up with by his girlfriend. So despite all his amazing feats, he's still human. Oh, I should also mention that his ex-girlfriend is a robot that he himself built out of a lamp. At number 4, Black Bolt. When I heard that Black Bolt was getting his own series, I thought, how? And more importantly, why? Listen, I think Black Bolt is cool, but I mostly think he's cool for what a mystery he is. I mean, he can't speak. His voice would destroy a mountain with a whisper. He's always been a silent, intimidating force. Well, this series had him tricked into going to a jail where they took away his powers, allowing him to speak, and then paired him up with Crusher Creel the Absorbing Man as the total polar opposite foil to his character. And it was through their relationship that we finally got to explore the mind of Black Bolt. We got to see Black Bolt mourn the mistakes he had made in the past and doubt himself, and we finally realized just how heavy was the head that wore the crown. In fact, even though his powers were gone, getting to see Black Bolt finally let go of his responsibilities was kind of beautiful. The moment when Black Bolt actually got to laugh for the first time in his life without fear of it killing everyone around him was one of my favorite scenes in any book this year. Number 3 is Deadpool, and I know a lot of people might be wondering why he got this high. I mean, unless you've been following his series, he didn't really do anything huge this year, but that's what made his book so great this year. It didn't do anything huge with him, it took everything away from him. You see, over the last few years, Deadpool has gone from dirty, grungy assassin to actual superhero. He had gained the trust of Captain America. He had become a millionaire off the love that people had for him and buying up all of his merch. He had created a family for himself, and he even became an Avenger, the height of superhero status in the Marvel Universe. But then a villain attacked his friends, and he had to make a deal with a supervillain to save them. But that's fine, right? I mean, he's still a big hero, right? So even if he now owes a supervillain one teeny tiny little favor, that won't really come back to haunt him. Yeah, remember how I mentioned that whole evil alternate reality Captain America thing? Deadpool, like many, fell for this fake Steve Rogers, and when he became his right-hand man, he was forced to carry out some horrible acts, even killing off some top S.H.I.E.L.D. agents like Phil Coulson, but Deadpool didn't question it because, hey, it's Captain America. Surely there's a reason he's doing all of this, right? But when it was revealed that he was wrong, that this was actually an evil version of Cap, Deadpool had to watch as everything he had built all crumbled down around him. In the span of 1 year, Deadpool fell greater than almost any other comic book character, and it's a fall that was set up brilliantly over the course of years. At number 2, Mr. Miracle. Now, you've probably all heard about how Mr. Miracle is amazing, with many people calling it the best book of the year despite only being 5 issues in, but there's good reason for that. One of which being just how well it completely breaks down the character of Scott Free. Now, Scott was always a fun, imaginative character who was the world's greatest escape artist, a warrior from New Genesis, and a celebrity here on Earth. Well, Tom King took this and showed us the dark, serious side of this character. Scott now suffered from PTSD from going into battle over and over again, as well as suffering from depression, because when you're the world's greatest escape artist and you can escape anything, then where's the thrill? Where's the fun? When nothing excites you, then you just feel numb. And that would be tough for anyone to deal with, but for a celebrity who has to go on talk shows explaining his depression, for someone who has to interact with fans every single day, and for a soldier who has to constantly keep going back into battle, Mr. Miracle perfectly captured just how much that brought him down. His emotional journey is probably the greatest any character has gone on this year. And lastly, at number 1, Batman. Because he's Batman. Okay, there's more to it than that, but honestly, that's kind of what it boils down to. Because yes, Batman had some big moments this year. He got engaged to Catwoman. He met his father from another reality who told him to stop being Batman. He even revealed his big secret about his lowest moment as Batman. Very big stuff for his character, but that's not what gets him to the number 1 spot. You see, comic book sales are suffering right now. In fact, they've been suffering for almost 2 decades. And DC decided that if they needed to increase their sales and people love Batman, then screw it, just give them Batman. Beyond his own series, Sean Murphy came in to do his own original series all about Batman being more of a villain where the Joker had to stop him, and Kurt Busiek finally did his long-awaited follow-up to his Superman Secret Identity storyline. And who does it star? Batman! And DC did crossovers with Looney Tunes characters. What was the one that everyone wanted and it sold out nationwide twice? The one with Batman! Even DC's big event this year, Dark Knight's Metal, is the story of an army of evil Batman from evil alternate realities coming to our world because it turns out that our Batman is actually the key to the dark multiverse, and he is used to summon out Barbatos, the evil Batman god. Jeez, does anyone remember when this guy was just a detective who fought people that told riddles? So yeah, listen, even if you're like me and you think we are drowning in Batman right now, you can't deny it. He was kind of the character who owned 2017. Walk into your local comic book store at any point in 2017, about a third of the wall will be dedicated to just this one guy. That's it for our top 10 characters of 2017. Let us know yours in the comments down below or on Twitter at twitter.com/Professor Thorgy. And remember, we're looking back at 2017 all month long with our top 10 villains next week, as well as our top 10 moments and top 100 comics. And we don't just talk about comics here on this channel, we cover everything from the world of geekery, including games and movies, and we're doing top 10s for those as well. So if you want to see those, then hit that subscribe button and share these videos around the web. It's the best way to help our channel grow. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and Happy New Year.